Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the drill partner is perfect.
Boy, Mike, I tell you what, if you were getting paid, I would say you're due for a raise, buddy. You know? You doing all right, Mike?
You haven't gotten my message, huh?
The invoice, it got sent to spam. That's what it is.
Yeah,
So
probably.
I haven't taken a look at the invoice. How you doing, Mike?
Voice attachment. Yeah, good. Everything's good. Yeah, excited for today.
I am excited for today. Yeah, for sure. There's a few events that I really look forward to every year, and anything with juniors is always a plus, you know. And for me personally, Mike, like getting into all this, and I've told the story a couple times before, but it's like when I started watching junior pool, I didn't really know what to expect. You know, like I thought it'd be one of those like, T-ball participation trophy type deals. You know what I mean? And then I went to junior nationals for the first time years ago with Oscar and Desiree, and it just blew my mind. Like I had no idea that there was so many kids who play so good and take it so professionally. And so it's an event that I always look forward to every year. And before we bring on Sofia, and we got Tyree in the back as well. Mike, what's your thoughts on like just how the last 10 or so years have gone, like in terms of American junior pool? Not so much like in the competitive aspect, but just as far as like the coverage and the way they've kind of brought it to the table more.
Well, I think it all ties together. The coverage and the number of juniors who play and the level of play and the opportunities for them. That's all kind of grown hand in hand, right? I mean, the more exposure they've gotten, the more visibility, the more opportunities they've gotten, the more coverage there's been. And so, it's something that you can see around the country is growing and getting better. And, you see it in the talent and you see it in the presentation of the events. You see it in the number of events. And that's something that we've been waiting for and hoping for in the U.S. for a long time. So it was a little slow coming for a lot of years. Juniors was just, one event here a year. And you'd hear about some junior players who are doing well and they play in some of the junior nationals for some of the different league associations. But this concerted effort to give them opportunities to become really great pool players and compete with the best in the world is really a relatively recent phenomenon. I mean, it's been great to watch. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been, and one of the things that you'll always hear in terms of professional pool is like, well, Americans can't compete with the world stage and things like that. And then you had what happened last year, junior nationals. Sofia Mast gets her spot into worlds, and it was an all-American final there for the championship, which I think is just really cool. Like there's very few times that I genuinely like homer out and like, go all Mike Pinozzo, red, white, and blue. You know what I mean? But I was feeling it that day, that's for sure. And I want to bring her on in with that. Current world champion. What's the official title, Sofia? Maybe you can help, get us on the same page here.
The junior girls 10-ball world champion.
There you go. And there she is, front and center.
What is it like? When did it set in? Like when was it actually like hitting home that you got there?
Oh my goodness. That I actually won the title. Once I started like getting all the messages, like everybody was just messaging me saying, "You're the world champion. You did so well." And like all the fans are just so amazing and saying like congrats. It felt real.
Do you introduce yourself that way when you meet people for the first time now? Like if you meet someone at the grocery store, you tell them, "Hi, I'm Sofia, world 10-ball champion, junior champion."
I have done that a couple of times.
Good for you.
What sports you play, and then I'll tell them that I played in New Zealand. And
good for you. Yeah. Wear that thing proud and make sure everybody knows about it.
If you need any help, Mike is really good at that. So when he'll go pick up coffee from the gas station, he'll wear his Hall of Fame jacket and the ring, and then he just strolls on in. And
usually get about 20 cents off my Starbucks.
There you go. Yeah.
I love that.
Talk to me how it was going from, because winning junior nationals here in the U.S. was one accomplishment, but then when did it set in terms of like, man, I've been to worlds already. I can compete. I got a really good chance at going deep and snapping this thing off?
After going second in 2023, I knew that I had the chance to win the next year, and I really focused on that. Because the previous years I didn't do so well, and then I knew my game was getting better, and it usually always gets better every year. So I wanted to take it one step further, and having that spot to go to Junior Worlds in New Zealand was awesome, and I worked hard with my coach Sam to get ready for that. I felt a lot more prepared, and we practiced a lot more in New Zealand than Austria. We had more practice tables, and us Americans were just on the table 24/7, just playing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I talk about with the opportunities that have been generated for the juniors in the past 5 to 10 years. Is that all of a sudden you get the chance to play, in these world championships 2-3 years in a row, and you start to measure yourself against the other. You start to see what the levels are you need to reach, and that's what really helps spur the growth into talent, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the experience is really everything. Like going into my first one in Austria, I was just very nervous, or my first one in Puerto Rico, I was very nervous. And then Austria, I was like, I know what it feels like. And then New Zealand, I really knew what the pressure felt like, especially being on that TV table. And in the finals, and so I felt really comfortable throughout that New Zealand tournament just from the experience of previous years.
Yeah.
How did the heartbreak of the year before serve you in winning the world championship?
I mean, I was very proud of the second place because that was only my second junior worlds. And so it was like a heartbreak getting second because it's always nice. But I really wanted that first place. Just the drive was there. And it also, just having that title and seeing the person that got first, kind of, I wanted it to be so bad. So I really had that drive going into the next year, wanting to have my name on that trophy and the title, and
It's something super special, and especially seeing all you kids over the last few years kind of grow up and compete out in Quincy or in Vegas, and then go out there and parlay that into a deep run, or in your case a world championship run, is pretty awesome. And I agree with you. Even getting second is a hell of an accomplishment in and of itself, because the talent on the world stage is so deep. And I want to kind of get your thoughts on that, on how tough it is going and facing these young Asian players and these young European players, and how different it is for you to go out there and play against them.
Definitely, it's a lot more harder. They practice every day. They work hard. That they do that for school, and it's just amazing watching them play. And they shoot so differently, and they're very focused. And like their coaches just push hard on them. And so it's a different atmosphere from playing just with Americans. And so they play a lot better, a lot more safeties, and you have to go back at them, and you have to get that ball in hand and play safeties to have a chance of junior worlds.
Yeah. The as far as other American junior players, are you seeing development in that the level of talent here now over the last couple of years? Now you've had a chance to compare U.S. talent against European talent, against Asian talent. I mean, I know that like last year at the Junior Nationals, you were in, I think, the title match for every division, known to man. So, but do you see other players getting closer? To see them getting to that level in the U.S., or are we still chasing?
No, I definitely see it. I see so many new juniors every day, and they'll come up to me and say that I'm an inspiration. I'm glad I am. I watch them play, and I'm like, yeah, you definitely have potential. I was at your point one time, and if you have the drive, you can do it. I've seen so many new players just coming up. Savannah's so great. Jordan's coming up. Marissa, like everybody's working hard and getting into that level. And I definitely think that we can keep the title going for many years.
That's
I
great.
couldn't agree more. All those names you mentioned, and then some. Even on the boy side of things. But Jordan especially, she had a great run last year. Hayden Ernst comes to mind as well. I think that kid's got Mosconi Cup future written all over him as well. And but it's cool seeing like I love watching you and Savannah on finals day. I just do. I love seeing you guys or you girls actually battle it out. I expect it, and so I think it was 2 years ago. You girls literally spent like all day long on TV table, bouncing around from like one division semifinal to final into the next division semifinal and final. It was like 8 hours of the Sofia and Savannah show, but it's been cool seeing like this fresh blood, so to speak, of young talent and these girls that are just earning it, and playing tough matches against you. And it's tough, I'd imagine, going, being, I don't want to say on the outside looking in, but you girls have already accomplished so much, and seeing these young players go and transition from, being competitive to giving you a run for your money is awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's always fun having those rivals and playing so many different tournaments and being in the finals. I mean, you work so hard playing every match, and it's definitely a lot playing a lot of tournaments at once. But definitely a lot of fun having just those upcoming players play us and having the inspiration that we give them and the dedication. I love seeing it.
How do you balance your time out there, Sophia, with so many divisions at junior nationals? And I know Quincy, Illinois, there's just a ton of things to do outside of junior nationals, and so what's it like having to go and like balance out your schedule with 14.1 and 8 ball and 9 ball and 10 ball and all these things?
Oh my goodness, it's a lot. It's so brutal. I just tell myself that I love pool and I want to play as much as
I
Just look
love
in the
it
this.
is
mirror,
a lot.
wipe
I
the
love
tears,
this.
and just say you love pool.
I
Love
love
pool.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot last year, especially since I kind of got sick in the beginning. I was definitely like on the edge of just like I don't know if I could do this, but I know I love pool because like I mean I played I think 7 different events, and luckily they're on different days. I'll definitely eat some good food before every match, snack throughout the day, and have some good sleep if I can. And just like have a good mindset going into each match, and like just have a set mind going in because you're playing so many matches and there's so many different things going on. It's a lot, but like I said, I love pool, and I do it for the love of it.
I don't worry. I do that same exact thing at every event that I go to. I just cry in the mirror in the restroom and I just say, "You love pool, Mike. You love pool." Every Derby City, I tell myself that. Every U.S. Open, I tell myself that. Every time I'm in Vegas for like a month, I just cry in the mirror and say, "You love pool. You love it." So it's
That's what
super
we need.
relatable. Talk to me about your coach Sam, because I know you've been working hard with her over the last few years. It's shown in your guys' bond, and then also the social media stuff you guys are doing as well, which is awesome. But talk to me how vital it's been to have her in your corner, and what she's done for you over the course of your young career.
Oh my goodness, it's been amazing with her. I couldn't listen to my dad anymore, so I had to get a coach. She was the best one I've picked, so like ever. She's just always so motivating. Before literally every match, she'll message this whole thing saying, "You got this. You know who you are. You're the junior world champion now." And she's just so positive, and she's just like those mechanics. She loves just working on it. We'll have like a set day to do each day. Like drills, we'll have like we have a Facebook group and we just post video and she'll comment on it. And it's just been having her support been truly amazing. It's changed my mind. She's like, I've been working out more and eating good because she's all about the health and stuff. And it makes total sense now because going into Puerto Rico, I didn't have any of that. Going into Austria, I had all of that and all of that support from her. And just having her by my side and having that last hug in New Zealand after I won, like I just started tearing like we did it, Sam. Like, yes, we did.
That's great.
I couldn't agree more. And I want to say like I've only I've only gone to junior events in terms of junior nationals and maybe I guess Vegas, but I've been to a lot of events and I like starting off my day really well, you know. And Mike's same way in terms of his workout. I know he's bulk over there, in the bowling shirt, but starting the day off is so important, whether it's diet or exercise. And out of every junior nationals that I've been to, I've seen one junior in the gym in the mornings, and it was along with Sam, and it was that young lady, right there. So they were getting in the sweat, and it was cool to see. And let's like no, you, I've been to Moscone Cups and seen guys, you know, on the treadmill at 7 a.m., you know, when no one's there and looking. And really like it's that European mindset more than anything. And even some Asian players for that matter, but like you'll see them every day in the morning, you know, they're getting up early, they're eating well, they're exercising, they're getting their mind right. And then it's no coincidence that these are the same guys and girls that you see in the finals and semifinals of events, you know. So I think that's pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, the health benefits I've had, like I've had back issues, and we tried to figure that out. And having that good workout helps out a lot. And eating healthy, my mindset's definitely more secure, and I know what I'm doing today, and more calm, and listening to like calm music. It's like pools. You have to be an athlete, and it's you have to have that drive and that dedication to work out, and you see it in your game once you.
It seems like you're taking things like a professional should. Even though you're 16, correct?
Yes, 16.
Are you driving yet? Do you have your driver's license?
Lord, I
Not
hope
my
not.
driver's license yet. I still have my permit.
Okay.
I will by the end of this year, though. I will.
Okay. So, but you're taking this on as like a professional would, like you would expect someone to do it, professional. And I do want to ask you about that. You did play in the World 10 Ball, reached quarterfinals, which was unbelievable. So you've been able to compete even on that stage. What are this might be looking a little bit far ahead, but what are you thinking in terms of the professional level of the game, that top level of the game? Is it something that you're chasing? Is it something you have a timeline on? Is it something you're waiting to see how your educational interests develop? What have you been thinking as far as the next couple of years go?
I've been thinking a lot, especially going into my senior year. As of right now, I'm most likely going to go to college. I'm not sure what the timeline is. I really want to become pro. I'm not sure how that I'm gonna like do education and then go pro at the same time. So it'll probably be after school that I can work more. But I just want to experience regular life, because pro life is, I've talked to many pros, and that's just all they do, and it's so amazing. I'd love to do that, but my parents want me to go to college, which is great. So hopefully it'll be soon, but it probably won't be as soon as I want it to be.
Yeah, that makes 100% sense. I mean, the education is something that you grab it while you can. It's always going to serve you in the long run. And how you keep yourself sharp during those years will be something that I'm sure you'll figure out. You'll be able to manage, with your energy and your regimen. So, interesting to hear.
All right, so we're about to bring in Shane Tyree here in just a moment. And before we do, I want to hear from your perspective, the player's perspective, the American junior perspective. What are the areas of opportunity for junior nationals out there at Quincy that they got to do a little better of a job on?
Like to go to Worlds, like
Well,
upcoming.
just in general, like the schedule, you mentioned the schedule being tough, and it is because some
Uh,
days you girls are out there, especially if you're playing in multiple divisions. I mean, there's some days where matches are starting at 9 a.m. and they're calling matches again at 10 p.m., which is really really tough.
mhm. So I would say just make sure you have a good night's sleep. Um, I try not to be on my phone as much during pool tournaments, or I try to listen to more music. Like I said, having that clear mindset. Make sure you know when your matches are, so you can plan out your day. And like
You
me
taking
and
notes,
Sam,
Shane?
Oh, I'm taking notes.
last year, me and Sam like went into this room and we just talked about like what we're gonna do each match, and we always have a plan of what we want to succeed. Like she'll say, "You want to three foul somebody? Let's go three foul somebody." We always have a plan going into each.
Yeah.
And then knowing your schedule is just very important.
What's on your playlist?
Motivation music, Christian music, just smooth, calm, like gratitude, like
Yeah,
I,
just kind of chill music.
yeah, just getting your mindset ready.
It's so important. I'm gonna give Shane a hard time here in just a second. It's so important because I listen to. So we'll pray with the girls every night before bed, but we'll do gratitude every night before bed as well, which is super important. And it's been cool to see my girls, especially, like take hold of that. And I'm real big on like affirmations and all these things, and starting my day off listening to them and all these things. So I can't be more happy to hear that. Shane, I want to ask you real quick. What was it like seeing two Americans in the finals of the World Championships this past year? You being the head of American Junior Pool.
Oh, I grabbed the EPBF ref and our EPBF representative and made sure he watched it with me. There's no doubt about that.
There you go.
Good deal.
Yeah, no, we've discussed it before. I mean, if I look over the past 10 years, and we count the average podiums that the Americans have finished over the past 10 years in juniors, we average one podium, not one gold, not one silver, but one podium. So a bronze. We got a gold with Mikkel a couple years back.
Yeah.
And over the past 2 years, we had three or more podiums. So we can see a progress in the junior development. And there's just been so many people to support juniors throughout the industry over the past 5-10 years. It's been amazing to watch.
Sophia, you got any parting words for Shane Tyree before we get you out of here? You can say whatever you want. You're not going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. You're free to say.
You want a soft draw? You want a soft draw? We can arrange it.
I just want to say thank you, Shane. All the opportunities you've given us, and going to Worlds and giving us those motivation speeches, and holding the BEF and all the events like that we get to play in, like 14.1, 8 ball, 9 ball. That's like huge, and then having the 10 ball to prepare for Worlds is awesome. And I'm so glad you do that for us. And we would have never had this opportunity.
Thank you, Sophia. But I'll tell you what I tell all the other players that say that. Thank you. It's players like you that give me a job, and so I love my job. I'm very fortunate that I get to do what I do, and so just keep showing up. Tell all your friends, get more people to show up. But you give me a job, so it's me thanking you more than anything else.
I'll definitely tell everybody.
World champion Sofia Mast, thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to finish off with Shane Tyree. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and thanks so much for making time for us.
See you in Quincy.
Thank you.
All right, Shane.
All right, the softballs are done. The gloves are off. Let's go.
There you go. Yeah,
Here we go.
yeah.
Okay.
Now
Melina's been
tough
chomping
questions.
Melina's been chomping at the bit for this for weeks. He's like, I can't wait to get Shane Tyree on.
Yeah, right.
You have no idea, buddy. You have no idea. No, look, I want to just start off with saying, I want to just say same thing Sophia said. Congratulations on everything you guys and girls have accomplished. And I know it's not just you. You got a great team that supports you, and the amount of pride that you and the team take into putting on this event, and the coordination and the efforts that go into it year round. are astronomical, and I only get to see a small fraction of it, and it can be daunting at times, especially dealing with some parents at the same time, and so big congratulations on everything. Like I can say, you can't say, Shane, but but it's congratulations on doing a hell of a job, because I know it's not easy, and I know it can be a little thankless at times as well, but not only is it showing up in a better delivered product to fans, whether you're an American fan or a world fan of pool, but also, like you mentioned, in the results and making young junior Americans more competitive as well.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for the kind words, Mike. And when you look at junior nationals, it's a labor of love for the BCA.
Yep.
I mean, we don't make any money on it. When it separated from the BCA Expo, we really divested, and we're trying to make the BEF stand on its own and make this event self-sustainable, so we can see continued growth. And from a BCA perspective, I mean, it's nothing but an expense, and a ton of our time. But and Mike, you've seen it. When you go there, it's inspiration for the rest of the year. You just walk away, and it doesn't matter. You feel inspired because you see tomorrow's customers,
100%.
you see tomorrow's champions, and you're like, this is why we do what we do. So it's worth every drop of blood, sweat, and tears that we provide to it.
This is the tournament where I just go and fill up the gas tank, because watching pro events can be a little draining at times, and covering the pro stuff can be exhausting at times. But when I go watch junior pool, it's like they just love playing pool. Like they're not jaded because of this group or that group, or they're not burned by this person or that person. They just want to go play all day, every day. And Quincy is that playground, and thankfully there's nothing else to do for the parents, because they're just hanging out there at the convention center, watching their kids hit balls all day long.
What do you mean? You don't swim laps in the Mississippi during breaks?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
take that back. I did actually walk to the dinner this past year, which I think took me like 13 minutes, so I got to enjoy a nice dinner with Cecil as well,
Oh,
which I look forward to
it was
every year.
clear across town, huh?
It was, yeah. I think I took like a left and then a right, and then I'm pretty sure I was there. So,
Clear
yeah.
across town.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. I mean, we're always trying to improve the event. I know Quincy's not the sexiest place to go, but when you get there, it is all about pool.
It is.
We keep trying to refine it. Last year, one of the parents told me it's the closest thing to Derby for kids, just because they're playing from sun up till sundown. This year, we're changing some of that.
Okay.
We're not letting them double dip in so many events. We don't have hay ball this year because of the tariffs. So we can't get the tables in. So we had to have a plan B. I'm sure we'll talk about that later as well. But we're not letting the kids double dip so many events this year. You have to play in your certain age bracket to let them focus on winning a national championship and not playing in 3 or 4 divisions at the same time.
Yeah.
How do you avoid having players just focusing on the ones that get you into worlds and still have participation in 8 ball and 14.1 and in 9 ball as well?
That's the way the schedule's set up. I brought in a new team from the BF, from our new program director with Mariah, and then Jose Borgos he's been a referee at the International forever, and he's been helping us out with some of the hayball events. He did the LA Parasport hayball event. We sent him out to the Joy Masters just here recently. And so he's going to be our head referee, and they've really worked on the schedule. So there's a lot less overlap in disciplines. And so they'll start on 8 ball. They'll go to 9 ball. They'll go to 10 ball. 14-1, is a little different how we have it. They can pay, $20, $25, and they get 5, 6, 7 chances for a high run. And then we take the 4 top high runs, and then there's your semifinalist. And so everybody gets a chance just to get a feel for 14-1. We introduced it 3 years ago, and we just think it's a great thing for the kids to go around and play, and just get as many opportunities as they can.
Shane, I'm a parent, and summertime is always an expensive time. I'm having to budget things out, and I got girls wanting to go to dinner and going to see the movies and go swimming and the jumping park and the water park and all these things. There's a big expense traveling to Quincy. What do you say to some of these parents? Will say, well, you know what? Like, it's great you get a chance for a spot at Worlds, but financially, it's a big undertaking.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's the nature of competitive sports, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to play competitive sports, whether it be baseball, soccer, football, hockey, whatever,
Yeah.
if you want to get to that next level, you're going to find the hardest competition and go seek out that event. So maybe you can represent your country and go. We we offset it. I know that one of the biggest concerns about BEF Junior Nationals is, we don't pay a prize payout, and people look at, I'm going to win $200 in a weekend tournament. We do pay out scholarships. If you add up all the different scholarships and all the prizes, we're over $10,000 in prizes and scholarships that we hand out. There's a Michael Rapisi Girls in Billiards scholarship, so every champion will walk away with $500.
Every champion, every discipline, every champion.
Every girl champion will walk
Nice.
away with $500. We're introducing a new scholarship this year, the Jaden Lou Scholarship. That's going to be based on academic merit more than performance based. And so, what about the essay they write, the grades they get, all the different, the academics that go along. It's not just the sport. We are the Billiard Education Foundation, so there is a concentration on education.
Shane, do we got to pull your report card from decades ago to?
Yeah, I've been looking at your transcripts, and
you know what?
It appears you lied on your job application.
Yeah,
I no doubt lied on my job application, but it's the billiard industry. They overlook that. I get a pass. But speaking of education, I'd like, we're bringing in Florian Keller to do the keynote speech for the juniors this year. And, he just has a great message. I spoke to him over at GBE. We sat down, we had a drink, and, his parents gave him the same ultimatum that sounds like Sofia's parents did. Is like, you know what, before you go pro, get your college degree and have something to fall back on, and then go do whatever you want. Well, did you know Florian is trained and has a degree in optometry? Because, his
Mike
parents
probably Mike's a nerd like that. Mike probably knows.
And so that will be a part of his message to the kids. Get a degree, have a plan B, because even though there's more money in the sport now than we've seen in the past 20 years, it's still a tough living, and they should still have a plan B. And it's a good thing to have an education.
I love that message. And I'll be honest with you, Shane, when I saw Florian be announced as a keynote speaker, the first thing that came to mind is, I don't know why they're letting you off the hook, because I know how much you love speaking publicly. That was the first thought that came to mind. But my second thought was, well, how is this going to relate to kids? And hearing that part of it just completely brings it home, which is great. There's nothing I love seeing more than seeing players go and get their degree. I remember seeing a post from Victor Zielinski, a top WNT pro who just got his engineering degree this year, which is awesome. And so having these kids prioritize the education is so massive, especially speaking as a parent. There's nothing I want more than to have the future have something to fall back on.
Yeah. We all know, guys. We've all been in this industry 4, 5, 10, 15, 50 years, Pinozzo. I don't know. This industry is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a player, if you're on the business side, if you're on the retail side, if you're a pro shop operator, if you're running a pool room. This industry is very, very cutthroat, almost at all levels. And one of the first things I learned was, you're trying to study business models of the billiard industry, and there are no straightforward business models. This industry is cutthroat from the very top to the very bottom. And to make it, you have to be a hustler. You have to be creative. You have to be, smart. You have to have perseverance, not just as a player, but as a business owner as well.
Yeah. I think a lot of these kids as players, you look at the juniors who've come up, and you've watched them, and you see how they interact with adults, how they interact with each other, how they handle adversity, how they are so determined, in what they want to accomplish, things like that. It's kind of, you want the education to fall back on, but I'll tell you what, these guys got a running start on their education, because they've learned, they've grown up as mini adults already just by their devotion to pool. and they've learned so many life lessons already that they can apply when they get into that educational system, high school, junior, college, and beyond. I think it goes both ways.
I mean, there's so many things you can learn on a pool table: risk, reward, decision making. Those lessons, and if you apply that to life, you're going to be successful, regardless. And so, this is a sport, not a game. And those who see it as a sport, the Sofias who are training and eating well and treating themselves like an athlete, they're the ones that are going to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. You look at all these kids, these juniors that we see at the top level in pool, and they're all like 4.0 students, all of them. And it doesn't surprise me at all.
No. And one of the good things about the BEF, it's not just in our academic award banquet, we recognize all the kids who has a 3.5 or better GPA. And last year, I think that was about 80 kids. Yeah. So 80 out of the 120.
It was never ending. I mean, it was just unreal, the amount of kids that were there for the academic side of it. It was crazy, which I love.
Yeah. It's good to highlight both, right? Like, so we are there to play a game and win a national championship, but they are student athletes. And so their successes in the classroom should also be recognized.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
Preparing them for life is everything. And I can remember seeing, I think it was Sofia like 2 years ago, got a heartbreaking early exit in an event. And I think she got, you guys awarded her spot in Worlds. And then she turned that into like a finals appearance, but it's like you see them deal with hardship and adversity, and then they become resilient and tough. And then it's like, there she is, just blossom into this, young lady who's just a monster player, and with a ton of character, both on and off the table, which is great. And what can the fans expect if we're at home, Shane, and we want to sweat the junior nationals this year?
Yeah, so I mean, Mike, I told you when we first brought you in 3 years ago, we're going to do everything we can to make it better every year. Last year we introduced Hayball. That was definitely a wild card and a different element for the kids. This year, we don't have Hayball. The tariffs got in the way of that. We'll be looking to recreate that later in the year in either Canada or Mexico. But this year, we're going to have 32 tables. We're going to hang lights, 9-foot lights over all 32 tables. We're bringing in digital pool to.
That's always an accomplishment. We got to have lights playing pool, Shane, for sure.
Well, you think we're bringing in digital pool, so we will stream every table. So all grandparents, uncles can pick the stream and watch all matches. And then in addition to what we're doing at the venue, we're also introducing the inaugural USA National Pool Championships for men and women as well. So we're kind of excited about that. We're going to see. I'm kind of walking on eggshells. I'm pretty nervous about just introducing the event. And I think y'all are going to beat me up over here in a second.
No, not beat you up. I have a couple questions though. Like, one, I like in the broader scheme of things, U.S. Nationals is something we've needed for a while. If you're going to be in that WPA, automatic spots, whatever, these are things that we need to do. So, I applaud, the decision to do that. It's not starting off in the greatest, year ever in terms of, prize money or having time to announce it and really work it through, but it's something you need to get the ball rolling on. One of my other questions, and someone brought it up here, and I was thinking of it before, is can the juniors enter these?
Yeah, we do have some juniors already entered.
Okay. Because I know you talked about trying to keep them out of overlapping play and stuff like that. Is the pro event going to interfere with any of their junior matches?
I think the way it's scheduled, there's not going to be much overlap. I mean, we have the juniors playing in the morning. We have the pros coming in to play at night. When we made the schedule for the men and women, we were cognizant of the different events going on around us. The week before, the women are playing the World 8-Ball Championships in Green Bay.
Right.
So we're starting a little bit later in the week for the women. So any of the American women that are up in Green Bay, that'll give them plenty of time to get down to Quincy and compete for those national championships. For the men, we heard there was an event going on later in the week that may or may not be going on anymore. We talked about it, but I don't know if it's going on anymore. And so there's plenty of time for the men to get to another event. So the men are earlier in the week, the women are later in the week. But with the way the schedules are worked, there shouldn't be much conflict. If there is conflict, we will address that situation and work to the best of our abilities.
So what's the carrot relative to the World Championship?
So the champions of the national championship will get the first invitation to the WPA World Championship in that discipline, and the BCA will also give them a flight credit. It's hard to say, what that credit is, because it's going to be different if you're traveling to Vegas as opposed to Jakarta. But we definitely, up to $2,000, we would figure that out. The other thing that I was trying to hold my breath on was the 9-ball, because we're doing the USA National Championships in 9-ball. And I was trying to get our champion a spot for this year's World Pool Championship in Saudi Arabia. I asked Matchroom for an extension to drop the name if we guaranteed we would pay for the flight. And they didn't grant us the extension. So we had to use BCA rankings for those selection process. But whoever wins the men's 9-ball championship this year will get the first invitation for the 2026 event, the 2026 WPA World Pool Championship. And so does that make sense? That answer your question, Mike?
Yeah, but what happens to the person who wins next year's national?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, depending on when the deadline is. If we send this year's champion and then next year's champion, if we have to send both the champion and the runner-up, we will.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of the people who support this event.
Okay, so help me understand. So first of all, let me just clear a couple things up. There is added money to these events, to these North American championships, right? Because when I first saw the flyer, it was, come play in an event, and it wasn't really a whole lot of details, Shane. So maybe you can kind of help clear that up. There's 4 disciplines, right? There's a women's 9-ball, women's 10-ball, men's 9-ball, men's 10-ball.
So close. Let me clarify. There's women's 8-ball, women's 10-ball, men's 9-ball, men's 10-ball. And the reason we did 8-ball for the women was because the Women's World Championship was scheduled to be here in America for the first year. So we just wanted to give, I believe the contract is for them to do that World 8-ball Championship for 3 years. And so we want to just encourage more participation for that event. And so, hey, come win the national championship, you'll get that free spot. And so that was the thinking with it being 8-ball as opposed to 9-ball.
Makes sense. Okay, I like it, and I like seeing women play 8-ball as well. So that's awesome. I like seeing men or women play 8-ball. So that's always going to be great. Okay, so they win a spot in the World Championship. We had a guy on yesterday. You may have heard of him. Actually, he's looking over your shoulder, right there. That guy right there. Not that one. That's the one. That's the one I'm going to let loose here in just a minute. You ain't gonna.
That's one's looking over both of your shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Griff loves me. Don't worry about it.
SVB had a question. It was in regards to getting a spot in the World Championship, Shane, and if in 10-ball. If he's got some questions, maybe you can help kind of clear the air in terms of how that's going to work this year.
Yeah. So I heard the interview, and like him, it's going to depend on how many spots we get. We do still want to honor the BCA ranking system, and Shane is still our highest ranked American. So if we have 2 spots, it would go Shane, the champion, the USA national champion. If we get only 1 spot, well, then we're going to have to arm wrestle Canada, or I'm going to have to go beg WPA to give us another spot, because that's a bridge we haven't crossed yet. But we will. Priority will be given to the national champion.
Yeah. Okay.
How important is it to make this or I guess, is it a priority, and what's the future looking like in terms of these events to give them some legitimacy and credibility, on the world stage, and how, you can go earn it in these events and to have good participation going forward, Shane?
You know, it's going to take time because, like you said, even with the Flyers, I was completely prepared to have this event with zero added money. All entry fees would go back to the players. The BCA is not making anything on this. It's all an expense and a lot of my time. But we did find added money. So that thank you to Masters Chalk, who stepped up in a big way because they love the philosophy of us having a national championship as well. And so, but for years, one of the biggest complaints about the BCA is we do nothing for the sport, and we're not involved in play. So just with my role from the WPA, I felt it, and the support from the BCA board. They see that we need to find another direction and another revenue stream for an association, not just dependent on the expo. So part of the strategy is let's invest a little bit into this USA National Championship and have it grow. I think as we continue to have it grow, players will start to see the value in that opportunity to go to a WPA World Championship. I know a lot of them have lost WPA points. They never lost the BCA points because we never stripped them away. As you guys know, we didn't vote for that amendment at the AGM at the WPA. And so we didn't want to penalize our players. We still wanted to measure them based on their performances in American events. And so, but we needed to do something. When we look how players qualify for these type of world championships all over the world, the one thing USA lacks from a federation is a national championship.
Yeah.
So why not? Let's give it a shot, and players will see a value. For the past 15, 16 years that I've been in this role, I've been keeping up with BCA rankings. I've been keeping up with the spreadsheet for players. I've been doling out allocations, invitations, working with players to get them to events. And a lot is falling on my shoulders, and people are always looking for handouts and trying to, hey, where's my rankings? Where's it? Well, you know what? Now there's an event. Come play in the event and let's see how you do. And this event's only open to Americans. It's only going to qualify Americans. And here, that's rare. When are you going to get these level of players that are only competing for Americans for a shot to be a champion?
So
Any other type of – Go ahead, Mike.
Federer can't play?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would have to get an approval.
What about Allison? Is Allison's
Allison's
Allison
a citizen now? She's a citizen.
Allison can play.
Oh, yeah, she's got her passport.
Yeah.
So, can I pivot from BCA's WPA role, which I think I like that you're stepping up and doing the national championship, taking a more active role and making things more predictable by the bookie kind of thing. Announcement of the WPA Women's World 10-ball championship. Which one is in Florida?
This is the longest yes or no question I've ever had in the life.
Oh, it's not going to be yes or no.
Yeah.
So the dates for the World Championship, Women's World Championship, is in December in Florida, the same time as a previously announced WPBA National Championship.
Hold on, Mike. Are you dropping some news out here, Mike? Say that one more time for me.
Yeah. So, Mike, I don't know who your sources are. When I go to the WPA calendar, I just see a Predator TBA event and I see a WPA event in December. But I don't know what those specific events are. So I would hate to say something that's not published.
Okay. So we'll say if a WPA event does coincide with a national WPBA, BCA event, what can you do?
I mean, I don't know. It's a hypothetical question, so it's hard to give you an answer for if type questions. And I'm being a smartass more than anything, but
yeah, no, that's fine.
It reminds me of what my grandma used to tell me. if frogs had wings, they wouldn't hit their ass on lily pads, right? Like, I don't know.
I like your grandma already, Shane.
Okay.
No, Mike. You know what? I'm beating around the bush. I know we both.
No,
exactly
that's fine. I don't want to get you in Dutch.
But
with
no.
anything.
So, but what I'll tell you is,
we all have our own little sources or things that we hear over the grapevine or things like that. So, I guess
Mike, if there are two WPA events, if there are two WPA sanctioned events going on in the United States at the same time, I think it would be an embarrassment for all parties involved.
Yeah, makes sense.
I like that. Yep. Tell it like it is. Let's talk about these North American championships real quick one more time. So if the turnaround time isn't necessarily the greatest, Shane, we're a month out and there would be spots available for Worlds. How do you sell that to the players who have been, I got flights and plans booked for, 6 months out?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe 3 months out, maybe 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, and so if the guys want to go to the World 10 Ball in Ho Chi Minh City, and the Tylers, the Skies, the Billies who don't have WPA points, and let's say we have 2 spots, the BCA gets 3 spots. One would go to Canada, one would go to our BCA ranking American leader, and that'd be Shane, and then one would go to our champion. So if that champion is Mason Cook, Sam Henderson, Nick Evans, whomever has already signed up, well, then that's who's going to go. But it's got to be the guys who want to have that opportunity. And if they want to go compete for a 10-ball world championship, well, they can make the plans happen.
Yeah.
I like it, Shane. They go. You don't got any room to go and complain if you got a chance to go and earn it. And so there's a path and a map to kind of take and a road to take to kind of get there, which is awesome. Is it something that we have planned for the next 5 years, Shane, or so? Or what's how?
I'm not going to slow down. It's going to take more than a minivan in Puerto Rico to slow me down. We'll put it like that.
I still have to pay that dude too.
Yeah, because you're going to be next. You're going to be the next hood ornament.
What do you got, Mike?
No, I think I've gone further than I needed to go already.
What I'll tell, guys, if our players haven't signed up for the USA National Championships, look, I know it's short. I know there should be a year in planning. It's not. We've put it with the junior nationals. We are going to continue to grow it. I do think the interest in player participation will continue to grow as well. If you can make it, we try to be very cognizant of other events, so we weren't stepping on any other events, so you could do both. I know there's a lot of travel coming up, but for the men, they would qualify for the 10 ball in Ho Chi Minh. For the 9 ball, they would qualify for 2026 Saudi Arabia. For the women, it'd be the 2026 8 ball world championship, and probably any of the hay ball events that we have as well, because they play 8 ball. And then, for the women, it's the 10 ball world championship that they would qualify for. Additionally, the other benefits that we will have, any allocations or invitation the BCA gets, maybe for the China Open, maybe for the Qatar World 10 Ball Cup, we're going to use the rankings and the USA National Championship in the same way.
That's huge. That's huge, especially as everything kind of continues to grow and peace is made, because those are big money events.
Well, right. And the BCA has been working for the players for, like I said, for 15 years. It's our time to get in the game and say, hey, let's all get together, and this is your opportunity to support us a little bit. 15 years I've been working for the players, and I've never asked for a dime. Not $25 for a membership, not anything. I've always just bent over backwards to help them. And so now we're going to put on an event like other federations, and this is going to be a national championship. And it, for lack of a better way to say it, come prove it. You want to go play? Here's your opportunity. Sometimes being a champion, it's more than winning a Friday night tournament. It's coming to represent your country and, getting this opportunity.
First 32 to register are going to get in, spot in the Women's World 8 Ball and the spot in the Women's World 10 Ball, Men's World 9 Ball, and Men's World 10 Ball. 20,000 added over 4 events, 5,000 for each one of them. I say that's pretty good for a month turnaround, Shane. You know, and the prestige of representing your country. You know, I think it's hard to give you a tough time when you're growing, Shane. You know what I mean? So
Hey, thanks. It's 5,000 added, 250 entry fees. All entry fees will be given back to the players. If we get a full field, I'll work with Ed and Jose and the team to figure out how to distribute the money. It's double modified, so last 8, last 16 will be single elimination. That's where all the money will go to the people who made it to single elimination. And then on top of that, we'll pay for the champions airfare. So again, the BCA is not making any money. There's no hidden fees. There's no green fees. There's nothing like that. If you come play, you get to the top, you get to the single elimination, you're going to make money, and you get an opportunity. There's just not, I can't believe we haven't, the USA has never had this before. It's kind of exciting.
Do you realistically think that the American players are going to go and support it?
That's a great question. Do I think Shane and Billy and Scott?
Yeah, those are the guys that I'm talking about. Yeah.
No, probably not. But will we get, the next level, the next tier guys? Maybe. Yeah, I do.
I think they will next year. I mean, as it grows and it becomes more, there's more money in it. It becomes more of an event, and it's got its own space in the calendar. Then all you have to do is have Billy and Sky not get into this year's World 10 Ball Championship, and they'll think twice about going to Quincy next year.
Yep.
They'd be pretty big favorites to go, depending on the field as well. So, all right, Shane. I guess you're doing a good job. You know. All right. I know you mentioned digital pool for the streaming. You mentioned a lot of junior events, American World. What is it? What's the proper term? American National Championship.
So with the new sponsorship, it's Billiard Congress of America presents the Masters USA National Pool Championships.
Okay.
I'll learn that before July for sure.
Yeah.
What's the streaming going to be like as far as TV tables and things like that as well, Shane?
So, this is where I'm always pretty ambitious. Last year we had 2.5 TV tables, or 3 TV tables. I don't want to exclude, but we also are bringing back the wheelchair division. They're going to have a 8-ball and 9-ball national championship. So we'll be running 2 TV tables, one with carpet, one without carpet, so we can accommodate our wheelchair athletes. But we'll rotate between the 2 TV tables, depending on the semis and finals going on throughout the schedule.
My man,
all of it will be posted to the Billiard Congress of America or Billiard Education YouTube channels.
It will, and we'll make sure and share those across the social media pages as well. Collins is going to be tag teaming along with Ben, and we'll have a bunch of kids in the booth and players in the booth as well for you guys' entertainment. It's going to be completely free, starting on July 7th.
6th for the men. The men start on the 6th.
We get in Quincy on the 4th, and it's tradition to have Shane Tyree pay for our Applebee's dinner. So we're looking forward to that out there at Quincy. No, look,
because nothing is more romantic than Applebee's and fireworks over the Mississippi.
That's it. Hey, there's some pretty good sunsets out there. I'm not gonna lie. There's some pretty good scenery out there. But Shane, how maybe you can shed some light on what's it been like to be received out there in Quincy? Has there been any support locally, and how have they been like treating the BCA and the BEF for you guys as well?
You know what? I know we get a lot of flack for Quincy, but that's why we keep going back every year. They treat us like gold. They roll out the red carpet, and once you're there, other than the prison sandwiches that we feed you, Mike, like that's an inside joke. Like
this guy. No, this guy gave me. I'll tell the story real quick. This guy gives us like the county jail Johnny sack. You know what I mean? That it's just like a bologna sandwich for lunch one day, and he's like, "Have fun, boys." And me and Collins are out there just starving in the janitor's closet that we work out of. But. No.
The American cheese sold it. Come on.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it was. It didn't go bad on us.
Hey, we make the most of it. They really do roll out the red carpet for us. There's a couple of good restaurants in town, and I mean, like I said, we make the most of it, and we do have a great time when we're there.
Look, I love seeing junior pool go and grow, and if you want a way to get a spot in a world championship, whether you're a young American player or a pro player or whatever, here's your chance, right? There's no, hiding behind a curtain or what do I got to do or whatever. There's your way to go and get a spot in a world championship. If you take pride in representing your country, there's a way to go and do it right there. And so, 15 years later, better late than never, Shane. So I'm I'm happy. And more importantly, like, look, it's easy to have the Americans kind of be the pun in terms of the Mosconi Cup or World Championships or not compete. And if you look at rankings on money or whatever, but to see these young stars go and grow like they have, the Sofias, the Savannahs, the Haydens of the world, it's like these kids are going to be monsters on the world stage if they're not already. And you've kind of developed this breeding ground for that, and ways for kids to go and compete and respectably as well. So I can't commend you enough. And I want to mention real quick, because there was a comment in there about raffle tickets. So is there some kind of raffle?
So all the juniors, Pet Shower provides a couple of cues to give to the juniors that they can raffle off for $10 a piece raffle ticket. They have to turn in the stubs, give us $1 for each stub. So it's an honor system. We also did this year, we did that same raffle process for the wheelchair athletes to help them with some of their travel expenses as well. Just because the logistics of just having to get through with the wheelchair is a little bit more difficult. Yeah. So they can raffle tickets. And so it's just, we know it's hard to get to. We know how expensive summers can be. So with these raffles, help the kids offset the cost. And they can, as many raffle tickets as they can sell. So, do the math. If they sell 50 raffle tickets, that's $450 they get, because they just give us $1.
So for every $10 ticket I sell, I'm giving you $1 and I'm keeping $9 to help with my expenses.
Right. And the only reason we take $1 is to keep it honest, because, otherwise people would just be selling raffle tickets and wouldn't, not turn them.
Yeah.
And so we say, hey, give us $1. We're not trying to make any money, but it's to keep everybody honest. And then, like I said, we do the same thing for the wheelchairs, and it's just going to be, it helps them tremendously to get to the middle of nowhere USA. And, I have to make a comment on Jeannie Ann's post. Jeannie, we've never met, but I know you to see this statement that the BCA's involvement is going to be huge for pool. I can't really thank you enough. I know you've been a talking head on some of the forums, and I've always known your name to be a BCA basher. So I appreciate the support. I welcome the conversation, and I hope we can meet one day. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention in Quincy, this is also going to be the 3rd annual instructor summit, where we bring in about 75 to 80 instructors to give seminars, to teach. We acknowledge the Jerry Breseth Instructor of the Year. It wouldn't be the BCA without having more than one thing going on, right? And so we do have the instructors coming in. We're bringing in Jorgen Sandman, who's been European coach. Mike can probably preach his accolades better than I can, but he's just been a very strong coach in the European system, and he's going to give a seminar to our instructors. And so it's not just about the event and the national championships, but how do we make our instructors better? And because if we make our instructors better, they will make our players better. So it's all systemic within our industry, and we have to look at all aspects to how do we improve our American players.
Yeah.
I like giving you a hard time for Quincy, but it really is a fun time for me personally. Going out there and seeing the young talent go and develop, and familiar faces, and then, like you mentioned, the instructors. It's like it's a condensed pool expo, but it's all for kids and it's all for the future. And it's you guys do put in a lot of work, and you guys have put in a lot of work, and you continue to. And having been there from the South Point a couple of years ago to now, I mean, the junior side of things is just, it's night and day. It's not even close, and so it's pretty awesome, Shane.
So, Mike, I like to ask you this question. I probably ask it to you every time, right? And but 4 years ago when we were at South Point, you knew very little about the BCA, or only what you heard about the BCA. Now we've worked together for several years.
Yeah.
and you've seen a little bit of growth. You've seen how hard, our staff and our team actually works. We haven't been involved in play, but what's your perception of the BCA and how has it evolved over the past 5 years?
I mean, more than anything, for me, it's the effort and the pride that's taken in there, because prior to, it's always just kind of been this, like, it's been this name, but you never really saw like any action with it, right? Or anything that you can go and say, well, they're doing this for that person or that type of player or whatever. And it's low hanging fruit to like kind of go and bash you guys, especially you, because you wear so many different hats within the industry as well, and I know a lot of them are thankless jobs, but to see like something like the North American Championships, to see the growth of juniors. And look, I've heard it all from parents to young athletes to professional athletes. And especially, like, conversations are different depending on what part of the world you're in or who you're talking to and where they're from. But the American side of things has always been the same. Well, they don't do anything for us. Well, we can't do this, or there's nothing formal with this. Well, you know what? Here it is. Here it is for you guys and gals and for you young players. And I don't think this is where it's going to settle, because just from your guys' growth over the last 4 or 5 years that I've been kind of hanging out has been awesome. But it's a start, and I love seeing it. And it's going to take effort. Like, everyone's kind of have to pull in the same direction. I want to see the nation's best juniors out there. And if you got an issue, whether it's financially, otherwise, hey, hit us up, hit me up. We'll figure out a way to get something moving for you. If we got to share a post with something that you're going and raffling, or trying to do something to raise for expenses, whatever, hit me up. It's worth it. I like seeing Sofia and Savannah and these young players, like, they take pride in wearing that red, white, and blue on their jackets, and that's something that's super cool. And it's one thing to go out there and just, earn your way and get a spot. But damn it, these kids are the real deal. And so companies, like, whether it's Peach Hour giving away cues, and this is another thing. It's like the only event that you'll see everybody in the industry kind of get together. You know, you'll see Lucasi, you'll see Brunswick, you'll see Peach Hour, you'll see Mucci, you'll see everybody out there kind of going pitching Bull Carbon for the 14.1. Everybody gets together because they all want to see the same. Everybody wants to see American pool grow, but you kids and you players have to go and sign up, participate, go out there, get your butts over to Quincy, and go earn your play. And it's not always going to be fairy tales, because some years you're going to have heartache. But if you stay the course and you go out there and get some seasoning, it's going to go and pay dividends. I've seen it year after year after year, kid after kid after kid. It's awesome. And so seeing all this fresh blood, new events, whether Hayball, the American National Championships, is just awesome. Kudos to Masters for throwing in 20 grand with a short notice as well, because that's not easy to do, to forecast in your budget throughout a year. And so all these little things are just awesome, man. And it's all for the future of American pool. There's something there, but you guys got to get to Quincy. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, it's not formally, and I'm probably like leaking this where I shouldn't be, but I'm overhearing that the World Junior Championships will be in November in Gdynia, Spain.
Nice.
So I know some of the kids don't like to travel so far. New Zealand was way too far. I'm hearing rumors, pretty good rumors, that it's going to be in Spain in November. So what a trip. What a trip.
How many kids are going to earn world championship spots at this tournament in Quincy, Shane?
So we typically we're typically given 5 spots per division. So the 17 boys, the 19 boys, and the 19 girls. With one of those spots we give to Canada, so that gives us 4 spots left. So that will go to first, second, and the 2 third places. And so I don't think anything's changing, but yeah, I need to see something formal, because it's the WPA, and who knows, things might change. But yeah, no, that we traditionally get 5 spots.
Okay.
4 for USA.
Mike, what else you got, Mike? This might be the last time we get Shane on, because I know you
Well, say, listen, if you got these rumors about the Junior World Championship, see what you can find out for me about the Women's World 10 ball.
I'll look at, but Mike. Mike, let me ask you the same question. You were around when the BCA invented leather tips.
Yeah, me and Mingode went to high school together.
How have you seen the BCA change over your tenure of being involved?
Listen, I've always been a BCA supporter, and it's had its good years and its bad years. It's been its years where it's been very player focused, and years where it's been very trade association focused. And there were talk about doing nothing for the pros, whatever. There were a lot of years those BCA Open championships in Vegas. Those were big tournaments. Those were really the industry put together some big events and ESPN coverage and all that, and then it kind of drifted away, and now trying to get back in. I think you're doing the right things from the standpoint of what your involvement in the play side is going to be, which is supporting and growing the juniors and giving some structure to the pro side, even though you're not involved in pro tournaments, right? So that to me is, those are really positive things.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying. We're trying.
There you go. That's all you can ask. Mike, you got anything else? Any more heat for Shane Tyree before we get him out of here?
Oh no, he's got his assignment.
Shane, I look forward to seeing you next month. It's Quincy, Illinois. It's the 2025 junior. What is it called, Shane? Junior
National Pool Championships
and the American National Championships as well. Is that right?
Yep. Close enough.
Close enough. We'll practice. Look, I'm getting on a plane in a month is all I know. I think I fly into St. Louis, and I can't wait to talk to some kids. I can't wait to see play. I can't wait to see competitiveness out there, and I can't wait to see some familiar faces. So, Shane Tyree, always a pleasure having you on. Panozzo, I appreciate you as well. We got Nick Varner coming on tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Time, so make sure and stay tuned for that. We'll have more posts and more announcements on everything going on out there in Quincy on Windows Open, so make sure and stay tuned for that as well. Thanks, everybody, for hanging